I think it was around 18 years old, or like towards the end of high school. Rob's like, let's do our first trip. We're gonna go for 1 week. So our first trip was the Gila River Casino in Arizona. He's like, listen, I'm gonna teach you something about money management. He gave me, I think it was a $1,000 bankroll. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna put your money in 7 different envelopes. So if you lose one envelope, you'd be done. You know, that's it. If you win, you just hold the money and you open the next envelope the next day, and now you have more money to work with. After the first day, Rob comes back to the room and he sees all 7 envelopes open after the first day. You know, the first time where I saw where like this guy's an animal. Like he can't help himself. I like to spend money, I like to have fun, I like to enjoy myself. I still would definitely open the 7 envelopes today. I'm not gonna die with my money.
At only 35 years old, Michael Mizrachi has racked up over $14 million in live tournament winnings, 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, and quite the reputation.
Michael Mizrachi, he's a great example of a tournament poker player. It's feast or famine.
And Michael Mizrachi has taken the lead.
When he first burst on the scene, he was just a train, just coming forward, just never stopped.
Michael's moved all in.
If he gets the majority of the chips, you can bet your dollar that he's going to win.
I know from firsthand experience that doesn't matter what he's playing, if it's a $200 buy-in or a $50,000 buy-in, he is playing to win. He'll check raise his grandma.
He likes to play pretty much every single hand.
That guy just wins. Maniac.
Animal.
The grinder.
Grinder. The grinder.
That's kind of a misnomer. You know, grinding's like chopping out little pots at a time, and he plays pretty fast.
Well, my name is Michael Mizrachi. Pronunciation is actually it's Hebrew. Most people think it's Mizrachi, but it's Mizrachi. My family's very, very strong. We have a great relationship with my 3 siblings. We have my older brother, Robert. We were fighting a lot. We were very competitive. We always wanted to beat each other at anything we did. I'm also a twin brother. I'm 2 minutes older than Eric. We're fraternal twins, definitely not identical. Don't look anything alike.
We had so much fun growing up. The most important thing is that we're always close and together, like no matter what.
Eric's always been the cool one. I'm definitely the better poker player. Daniel was a young one. Really, really great looking kid. But now, I'm not so much. He changed. He was a lot better looking when he was younger, but he's still good looking. We had an amazing childhood. At first, it was like the 3 of us versus Robert, actually. I definitely would put booby traps all over the house. I could put like something on top of the door, so if we come to the room, it would fall on top of our head. And we were always competitive. I've always been like a football player my whole life. I always wanted to play football. I played street football when I was younger.
Football was like our favorite sport. I was mostly the quarterback. Grinder was always the running back because he was big.
I always had really good hands. I could always throw the ball. I could always catch a ball. When I reached 7th grade, I was ready to play football. And my mom saw one of the guys come out with crutches. And that was it, no more football. So I guess that's when my poker career started. My mother always loved to gamble. That's why I think it was in our blood.
My parents were always gamblers, so they introduced us to whatever it was, bingo. We were in bingo halls, casinos, and stuff like that, roaming around.
Back in the days, kind of like we all became like, I wouldn't say sick, but like just loved the gambling. My brother was always a smart one, knew how to make money. When I was younger, my brother purchased a few slot machines. All the kids would come over, he'll take everybody's money. I used to put a roulette wheel or like a bunch of different casino games. I had a slot machine in the house. And my dad would come up, wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes play a slot machine.
The growing obsession quickly spread beyond the family basement.
Rob took me to our first cruise ship out of Port Everglades. My first actually live poker game. For him, it was a great experience because he just first started making money, so it was very exciting for him. Rob always said I was like 18, so I kind of went underage. No one really checked. I was playing $1 to $5, and I was playing $4 to 8 limit hold'em. I was a bit happy to make $102 a day. You know, I was so addicted to the cruise ship, like I wanted to go every night.
Every night was a different venture. He had the skill back then, but you know, he didn't know how good he'd be, and he just kept winning from there.
I kept making money, and I started playing, raising the limits. I started playing online poker when I was around 15, 16 years old. And I remember we played Planet Poker, Paradise Poker. You know, I was one of the first guys actually playing online poker. I played very tight, just conservative. I got the Grinder nickname, yeah, because I was like, what would suit me well, or an online screen name? At first it was Michael34, and then I was like, no, I wanted the Raker, this, you know, I've thought of a few names, but then I thought the Grinder suit me well, then just everybody started to call me Grinder.
Back on the grinder.
The grinder.
The grinder, Mizrachi, right there to take down that pot.
Calling Michael Mizrachi the grinder is kind of an sort of contradictory term, because the way he plays poker is wee wild.
I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in.
I've never seen a guy go all in as quick as this guy does. Oh, that could be very annoying.
First time I ran into him was online. Then I beat him in the stupid hand. All of his brothers were like in the chat saying, we're gonna beat you up. We're gonna, like, really? It's like that? They were pissed at me.
Mike would play 30-60 limit every day, just click away, 36, and he'd make $3,000 a day, $2,000 a day. And I would say, Mike, you know, $3,000 a day is just about over $1 million a year.
I just played just because I love the game. I love it. I had the passion for it. I just felt like, and this is who I am, and this is what I want to do.
Playing poker all night, every night. Michael eventually dropped out of community college.
When I was 23 years old, I decided I needed to have responsibilities.
He landed a job as a card dealer at the Seminole Indian Casino in Florida.
I didn't last very long because I actually got fired. And on my termination slip, they couldn't put how many things I've done wrong. Like on the slip, there wasn't enough room.
The job was short-lived, but it did introduce him to someone very important. Her name was Lily.
One day we met each other into the break room, and she started talking to me. She's like, "Yeah, maybe you can teach me how to play poker." I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You know, I'm gonna drive up to Foxwoods." She just said, "Yeah, I'll drive up with you."
It's worth noting that Foxwoods Casino is a 22-hour drive from Florida.
And I remember one day they called me up and they're like, "Mike, why aren't you at work?" I was like, "Actually, I'm in New York right now." They're like, "What?"
Lily proved to be quite the good luck charm. Michael cleaned house.
I went to Connecticut, I think 30 days straight. I never had one losing session in the cash game I played. I think I won like 73,000 in the stud game. It was a really good trip. And that's why I kind of started playing tournaments.
With a new bankroll and new confidence, Michael's professional career exploded in 2004 at the 5 Diamond World Poker Classic and a victory score of over $270,000.
When you hit a 6-digit score, it's like, you know, I'd never seen that kind of money yet. And I was like thrilled. I was like, wow. Since then, I never looked back.
Impressive wins in the early 2000s put the Grinder's poker game on the map.
The Grinder, he had a lot of experience at a very young age. The Grinder hit poker like, crushed everybody, super aggressive, doing things no one else really had done before.
In 2004, winning poker tournaments was suddenly more important than ever. The Grinder was to be a father.
I was young, you know, I was 23. My first one, I was Lily, it was kind of like a speedy relationship, so she was pregnant right away, so I wasn't sure. I was like, you know, it's like kind of young to be a father at 23 years old, and you still haven't experienced your 20s yet. Or maybe we'll just try to make it work out. And so I was for the child, and thank God, he's precious, he's a great kid, very smart, love him to death. It's definitely not like poker, you can't even compare it, just like a different experience, and that was like one of the greatest days of my life when my first child was born.
With a new family cheering him on, Michael Mizrachi's poker game kicked into high gear. January 2005, he won over $288,000 at the World Poker Open. Days later, he won over $100,000 in his biggest online score. A few weeks after that, he walked into the WPT LA Poker Classic and walked out with a first place prize of $1.8 million. Mizrachi had entered the big league.
Tremendous for Michael Mizrachi.
I guess fortunately now I became a poker celebrity.
He was actually the first one out of the whole crew to win something so prestigious like that. And I was so proud of him. I was like, wow, he really did it finally the first time. That was like the biggest moment.
He took the World Poker Tour by storm, and for about a year or two there, he was certainly the biggest winner in poker.
Michael Mizrachi's whole strategy is to accumulate a whole lot of chips early on. Once he has a whole lot of chips, he's dangerous.
And in January 2006, he won his second WPT title and another $1 million score.
And actually, the next day when I won the tournament, that's when my daughter was born. I won February 1st, 2006. My daughter was born February 2nd, 2006.
It was weird. Every time he had a kid, he just won a lot of money.
That's kind of like the first girl in our family. It was one of the best days of my life. After coming home with over $1 million, daughter born the next day. Couldn't ask for a better February.
In 2005 and 2006, Mizrachi cashed in more than 45 live tournaments, earning over $5 million.
He had probably more success in like a 3-year span than any poker player has in tournaments. He was just winning or final tabling everything.
He was making top 50 of all these tournaments, and he's on the cover of Card Player magazine in 2006.
But old habits die hard. The 18-year-old kid who tore through all of his big brother's cash envelopes in a single night had never been tested like this.
I definitely know how to make it, I definitely know how to spend it. It's very hard to save money in the gambling business. When somebody's winning, there's always somebody losing.
So many young guys come out, they win $1 million out on tour, they think it's easy. All of a sudden, their money's gone and they wonder what happened.
He was traveling from tournament to tournament and didn't like flying. He had a family and a bunch of friends that traveled with him. So he took some of his LAPC winnings and bought the largest motorhome I've ever seen in my life.
I spend, I think, $178,000 on the RV, a 40-foot bus.
You don't buy RVs, you rent them, for a week. It's just a bad investment. He drove it for a couple months and then sold it and probably lost, I think, $80,000 on it.
In some ways, Grinder is his own worst enemy. He dabbles at times in probably things he shouldn't be, like, playing casino games and things like that.
He loves action, which so far has been a lot of his downfall. He'll go out and win a poker tournament and then want to go to the crap table or the baccarat table or whatever and, win the whole casino, and it's difficult to do that.
As quickly as he had climbed, Michael stumbled. By 2009, his streak had stalled, and his bankroll was gone.
Most of my money I lost was actually in real estate. I think I bought like 7 homes. I probably put close to $1 million in real estate. And then real estate in Florida crashed.
We just bought them at the worst time, so our investments did really bad.
What do I do in this situation? So I asked one of my close friends. He's like, listen, you have no choice, you have to walk away. That's when all my credit got shot and everything. I didn't have a choice. I lost so much money in the real estate market that couldn't even afford to pay you couldn't pay your taxes, $360,000.
I was like, damn, how could Mike is having tax problems, this and that, you hear it all the time, celebrities, but now this is happening to your own twin brother.
Grinder had not won for quite a while. Was flat broke, in fact, quite a bit in debt.
Kind of like, I've had those ups and downs, but, when I ever get down again, I know how to make it back.
By the start of 2010, bad investments had eaten away at most of the Grinder's big scores. With mounting debts, back taxes, and negative publicity, the football lover decided to throw a Hail Mary pass by entering the 2010 WSOP Players Championship Tournament. The entry fee is $50,000.
Main event's big, but the $50,000 Players Championship is the title everyone wants.
Got to play, 5 or 10 different games against the best players in the world. That's really hard to win.
Grinder is back at this Poker Players Championship final table.
Remarkably, he makes the final table with his brother Robert Mizrachi.
Yeah, that final table was very, exciting and nervous at the same time. We have to play our best, and we can't soft play each other, which we never do.
The river card is a deuce, and there you see the winning hand. Younger brother Michael knocks off Robert Mizrachi in 5th place.
As long as one of us won, it would have been exciting for both of us, but it was just heartbreaking after getting knocked out by him. I had to go watch him on the rail.
Michael Mizrachi somehow reaches down into the depths of his soul and plays his very best poker.
Everybody was, surrounding my brothers, everybody, just my whole family. My mother was there. I always had a great crowd behind me. It feels like home court advantage. I feel like, I can't lose.
The river card is a 4, and that will end it. The grinder has his goal.
It's a grinder tsunami. What elation for Michael Mizrachi.
After I won it, it was like, just got the monkey off my back.
For the grinder, the wait is finally over.
And it was almost a cleansing experience for him to win not just the $1.6 million, but I think the confidence that instilled upon him. It was incredible that year. He final tabled the Stud World Championship. He final tabled the Limit Hold'em World Championship. He won the $50,000 Poker Players Championship, the most prestigious bracelet you can win outside the main event. And then he final tabled the World Championship itself, the main event, where he finished 5th. If you play poker for a lifetime, you're not gonna have those 4 finishes over 30 years of playing poker. He did it all at one World Series. If that's not the year of the grinder, I don't know what the year of the grinder is.
It was one of the WSOPs that you sort of need to take a historical look at and understand what he did that year with it was the 50K win and then cashing in other 10K events. Truly remarkable. It's something we haven't seen since.
When I won the championship, I went to Tris nightclub. People came out of the woodwork. Like 30, you have 30, 40 people. I invite a lot of people. And I remember the guy, the manager or someone, one of the hosts, he's like, listen, Mike, so he sees me with 30, 40 people, he's like, there is no minimum tonight for you. Before you know, the bill racked up to 17,000. Yeah, which is pretty expensive. Probably my most expensive night I think I've ever spent partying. 17,000, that's a new car.
Of course, yeah, having an entourage can cost you sometimes because you want to be generous and you want to share your success with your friends. But like Michael's $17,000 dinner bill, that's not, a one-off situation. That happens all the time in poker.
I've seen guys win tournaments, they take 80 guys to dinner. And you spend $100,000 on dinner. 6 months later, they're looking for somebody to help them get in a $2,000 tournament.
Winning the Players' Championship tournament is one of the most difficult prizes in all of poker. In 2012, Michael Mizrachi captured lightning in a bottle and won a second time, collecting another $1.4 million.
2 out of 3 years to win the Poker Players Championship. That's incredible. That's unheard of.
I got lucky in a few spots, but you had to play your best. You want to beat the best, you have to play your best and make the right decision every time.
You can go a long time without results, but when he gets results, he gets massively good results.
He's proving himself every time. He's a great player. He's one of the best out there, at least one of the top 10 players in the world, for sure.
All the bracelets, all the accomplishments he's had, he may well be the most talented poker player in the world.
It's tough to make it into the poker world. Most people's like, what do you do for a living? I'm a professional poker player. What? That's their first reaction. Some people like, that's pretty cool, and some like, I think when you get a little bit older, there's a little more stress in your life. When you're younger, it's a lot easier, less bills, but you have, when you're not playing for yourself anymore and you're playing for others, others depending on you, your children depending on you, and everybody else. I actually separated with my wife a few years ago. We had a lot of ups and downs, but we're still friends, and we have 3 beautiful children together, and love them to death. There's definitely other things besides poker in life.
He's a family man, first and foremost. You get this stereotype in your head of who Michael Mizrachi is, and then you talk to him, and you realize that he's really all about his kids and doing right by them and making sure that, they're brought up right and they don't want for anything and that they're getting a good education. His focus really is his family and taking care of those around him.
He's intensely loyal to his family, to his brothers, to everybody that's close to him. Extremely loyal. There's no price on something like that.
Grinder's one of these people that I think that has had incredible results over time. He has had many, many multi-million-dollar years, maybe more than anyone. He's a very clever player, and I think really underrepresented in many ways.
The grinder, he's always there. He's always has all the chips in the beginning. He's either gonna have all the chips or none of the chips. It's just they know he's just a beast at the table.
Grinder. When he gets into those shorthanded situations with players, I'm not so sure that many people know how to play against him. To me, he is a superhero in the poker world.
So Power Poker by Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, right?
He's obviously a talented poker player. There are times in tournaments where, he has these massive amounts of chips, and basically all he'd have to do is sit on his hands, and he'd make it, and he blows them up. But that's part of his charm, and part of the way, that he gets those big chips is to do that.
Sometimes I go over my limits and over my head. And I think that's my biggest weakness in poker, still as of this day. So I have to be a lot better with that, and I have to go back to when I was 18 years old. It's like, this is what Rob told me to do, and I gotta stick to this. Kind of still haunts me, because, I still would definitely open the 7 elbows today. Sometimes better be lucky than good, but it's much better to have both combinations.